Hi everybody, it's Holly from Your Replay in Music Vancouver. Today, for our online art class, we are going to be making a sun. Just a sun. Just kidding. We're going to make a sun and a moon. 2 crafts in 1. Let's go. It's a long video. We're going to do it all together. Our sun and our moon. All right, let's go.
All right, hello everybody. We are going to need a couple of things today. We're going to need some blue, yellow, and white paint to keep these separated. We are not doing any mixing today. You're also going to need 2 pieces of construction paper, one in yellow, one in orange. The next thing you're going to need is a paintbrush so we can move that paint all around our paper plate. This is actually the most important thing for today's craft. You need a paper plate. Try to make sure it has that bump and it's not flat. You're going to need some scissors and you're going to need 2 writing utensils. So you're going to need one that's a little bit lighter, that's just for marking, and a black marker, or you could use a dark crayon for some details. We have some googly eyes and some glue, and that's everything. Let's get started here. The first thing that we're going to need to use is our paper plate and our marking utensil, as well as our paper. So we're just going to place that down, and we're going to go all the way around marking that circle down. Then I'm going to shift the plate a little bit to the side so I can get a nice crescent moon shape. Do you see that right there? I'm going to just quickly mark that down as well, and then we have our shape ready to go. Now I'm taking my scissors, I'm just going around in a circle, just the circle. We don't want to cut out that crescent for now. And then we're going to find ourselves with our crayon again. We're going to make our nose for our moon today, because our moon does have a face. I'm just deciding where the middle is, and then I'm going to make a nice triangle that's flat on the bottom and is diagonal on the side. So this isn't an equal triangle. I'm going to use some equal triangles for the lips, really tiny, for our smile. And then I've got all of my features ready to go. I'm doing the same thing that I did for my circle, really carefully cutting it out this time though, because I've got some tiny details. And then once I've got my shape, I'm going to put this to the side. Maybe you can use it for another craft because it is scrap now. All right, we're just going to make sure that this fits on our plate. It is not falling in the middle. It's not gaping too much over the sides, and looks like it's pretty good. All right, let's move on to the next part. You're going to find your 2 colors of paint, and we're going to start with the blue. Now this is important because we are starting with the concave, the normal plate part of the plate. We're not turning it upside down. This is how the plate would normally sit on the table. And the reason that I'm doing that is because I'm actually not going to wait for this paint to dry to do the other side of the plate. If you do want to wait for the paint to dry, you can do either side first. We do just want to make sure that the blue is on the concave side of the plate. The reason I'm doing this one first is because when I flip it over, it's actually going to have the least amount of surface area touching the table. I'm leaving a little bit unpainted so I can prop it up and let it dry a lot faster. Okay, once I've got that settled, I'm going to go away, find myself a new paintbrush that's nice and clean so I don't get any green colors instead of yellow, and then I'm just going to paint away on my top side as well. I'm moving in circular motions, you might notice. This is a really great opportunity for our little ones to practice their shapes. You can go back and forth like I was just doing. You can do some circular motions and go all the way around the plate. Once you've cleaned up, you're going to find yourself your orange piece of paper and fold it in half. Hot dog style, not hamburger style. We want 2 long strips. Once you have that half line, you're going to fold it again, now to the half line. So you have a quarter on those 2 half parts. Do you see that right there? I'm really pushing down so I can see where the lines are. So I've got 2 nice skinny sections. Now I'm going to take my marking tool and I'm just going to do some zigzags across because I'm looking to make some nice triangle shapes for my sun. You can do this just with your scissors, but it is a good activity for a little one to practice their straight lines. Now I'm going to cut out each section by strip, so I'm doing the strip and then I'm using my nice straight lines with my scissors to do a nice clean cut. This isn't a curve, so it should be relatively easier. It's a good place to start for your little ones. We do want to make sure that we're watching them whenever we're using something sharp. Otherwise, This is a great activity for our fine motor skills, our hand-eye coordination. We have to watch where we're cutting, and I have a ton of these little triangles now. Perfect. We're going to move on to the next step. Mr. Moon is back to say hello, and I'm actually going to use the leftover yellow paint from my plate to give him some more texture. Now this is optional. I'm just doing some dots around to make some craters in the moon, typical of what you might assume the moon looks like in a cartoon. All right, once everything has dried, we are going to bring everything back out, and this is the fun part. We get to make some nice faces on our sun and moon. So I'm gonna start by placing my triangles. You can place them a couple of different ways. You can put them up along the ridge like you just saw me doing, or you can do it like how I'm doing, which is along the sides. Once they're all placed along the sides, then you're gonna glue it. It really is a good idea to place them before you glue them down, just to make sure that you have enough, that they're spaced properly. You're not gonna end up with a whole bunch bunched on one side and then not evenly spaced out on the other side. So I glue all of those guys down, and I'm left with quite this stunning looking sun. I really, really like him. I'm happy, and I'm ready to look at how I'm gonna do his face. I placed down the eyes. I'm not gluing them down yet. I'm just sort of testing where I want them to go. I decided I want a cute looking sun, a very cute sun. So I'm going to put the eyes a little bit lower. I'm using my marker to just kind of pretend where I'm going to put my face. And then it's a really good idea to get some scrap paper and give yourself an idea of what you'd like it to look like. So I'm practicing a couple of different nose shapes. I practiced a no nose shape, but I ended up deciding I really liked the rounded, kind of like a 5, like a separated 5 nose. I'm just copying that design down onto the paper plate, the eyebrows and the nose, and I'm just going to glue down my googly eyes. So googly eyes are one of those materials that I strongly believe have some sort of vengeance against being glued down. You want to make sure that you are applying a generous amount of glue to both the eye and also the plate. So I'm putting the glue onto the googly eye and also onto the plate, and then I'm pushing the googly eye down. Once that's all ready to go, I'm going to flip it over quickly. I'm going to repaint any of the spots that I think need a little bit more. So that's the side that I didn't paint because I wanted to prop it up. I'm also going to paint anything that I see that's missing. Then I'm going to take the back side of my brush, dip it into the white paint, and gently dot all of these little stars on our plate. Now, what's really nice about this technique is as you go along, the stars get a little bit smaller because you're using up the paint, right? So I'm just putting them everywhere that I think I need them for a nice even wash. Now it's Mr. Moon's turn to have his face done. So I'm just imagining where I'd like things to go. I'm going to put down the eye to see if it fits. And I thought that he looked a little bit surprised. So I was definitely going to give him a nice big smile and maybe a nice eyebrow as well. So I'm just going to put that down onto Mr. Moon. I'm going to glue that googly eye down nice and good. And then I decided I'm going to give him a couple of little eyelashes because he looked a little surprised. So I put those down. He looked super duper cute. They kind of look like eye wrinkles. And then it was time to glue our moon onto the plate. Now, my plate was still wet. The paint was still wet. I would definitely recommend waiting for your plate to dry before doing this part. And because I didn't wait for my plate to dry, I have to only glue Mr. Moon himself. I can't glue the plate because the paint is still wet. So I'm gluing Mr. Moon really, really, really well, making sure I get it all on there. And then I'm going to place him on the plate. Now, it's really important that when you're placing him, he doesn't concave in the middle. So we want to make sure we get that 3D effect, right? He is staying nice and even and tightly pulled across both sides of the plate. I'm twisting and pinching him around, making sure he's nice and secure. Check the other side, make sure you didn't have any paint on your fingers like I did. And then guess what? We have completed this craft. We're all done!
Okay, and just like that, our sun and moon are all done. Wasn't this just the most fun craft ever? Look, we've got all of our stars. He's hiding there. It's wonderful. I loved it so much. If you liked it too, make sure you join us next week for the very last craft of this month in this theme, space. I wonder what it could be. You just have to find out. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.